Hey guys, welcome back to part 4 of my recent back issue haul series. Uh, on this one, I want to focus on a couple titles I'm really fond of that I bought as a kid and I'm still trying to complete. DC Special and DC Special Series, which are two different titles. Now, these first few are from the DC Special Series. Now, this had an odd numbering, odd format. Uh, maybe one or two of the books were actually numbered on the outside. But for the most part, I think after like issue 1 or 2, uh, there was no numbering. It was almost like a Gold Key or a Dell comic. And actually, there was 3 different formats in this series. You had a like a regular size comic. Well, in this case, it was a dollar comic, but just the regular size comic book. You had the digest size, and you also had in this series 3 of the tabloid editions of the Treasury size. You had if any of you've got the Superman Secrets of the Fortress of Solitude, that's in this series. Also, the Hulk and Batman Treasury is in this series. And I think the last one, which is probably the only Treasury I don't have in this, is I think it's like the Superman 2 movie special. And I think that was just basically a bunch of articles and photos about the Superman 2, which I plan on getting someday soon, hopefully. But we'll concentrate on what I got here now. This Sergeant Rock's Prize Battle Tales. Now, for those of you that collected DC Digests, there was 2 different titles in those. One was DC Special Blue Ribbon Digest, and the other one was just called Best of DC Digest, or Best of DC Blue Ribbon Digest. And those were 2 entirely separate titles from this one. Now, this one says Blue Ribbon Digest on it, but it's actually part of the DC Special Series. Now, if you can keep all that straight, then you're probably smarter than I am. But just, these are great books, and a lot of the digest size books were all reprints, but as far as this one, this is actually number 18 of the DC Special Series. This is just a great Joe Kubert cover. And you got Sergeant Rock, Unknown Soldier, Enemy Ace, and I'm sure most of this stuff in here it'll either have Kubert art or Sam Glanzman or Russ Heath or Rick Estrada or most of those guys that were doing the war stories for DC back in the day. But this is a really neat little format. I love the digest size. So that's number 18. Okay, this is number 19. Secret Origins of Superheroes. And as you'll notice, you'll not see a number on these. It'll just say Blue Ribbon Digest, but it is actually part of the DC Special Series. And there's a really cool cover. Looks like probably Andrew and Giordano, Dick Giordano. Secret Origins of Superheroes, more reprints. But pretty cool. And of the same series, we have GI Combat, which is number 22. And in this one, you have more of the same. Got a great Joe Kubert cover. More classic stuff by the same artist I mentioned before. So I love Kubert's art, and the covers especially. And this is pretty high grade, so. Number 22. Okay, back to the digest format. More DC Blue Ribbon Digest. Actually, no number, but this is actually number 23 of DC Special Series. You see no number there. I don't know if that was just a DC thing where they just didn't want you to know the number or you had to look in the book or whatever, but here's more Andrew and Giordano art on the cover. More reprints. Superman, Batman team-ups. Got Robin, Green Arrow, Aquaman. Okay, and the last digest size of that series was number 24. Flash and his friends. Another Andrew and Giordano cover. I think this is probably, these were around like the late 70s, early 80s, and Andrew and Giordano were doing a whole lot of the covers for DC then. But there you got the Golden Age Flash, Barry Allen, Hal Jordan, Green Lantern, Elongated Man, Dr. Fate, and Dr. Midnight. 3 complete novels. So, okay, that's all I have DC Special Series. I want to focus on DC Special. And I think I'm maybe two or probably 3 or 4 issues shy. This series ran 29 issues, and it's just some great stuff in there. A lot of it's reprints, a lot of it's new stories. But see, these are some of the early ones, and these next two were they're really hard to find, especially in grade. And this is DC Special number 2, and this kind of features DC's answer to Archie, Binky, and all those characters. And this one's actually pretty high grade. It might have a few little stress issues, but for the most part, really nice cover. And that one is done by Bob Oskner, who did a lot of DC's humor line and did a lot of stuff in the Superman line later on. So really cool book. I really like that logo. Just kind of jumps out at you. So these from the late 60s. Not sure the year, maybe 68, 69. But glad to have that one. And number 3, another one that's been on my list for a long time. And this is a really cool cover. You have Nick Cardy and Neil Adams on this cover. And this is an all-female issue. I don't know if I flipped through this one or not. It's kind of a lower grade book, but it was just something to fill a gap. And then this one is kind of hard to find. So you have a great cover there by Nick Cardy, kind of in the background, and I think it was actually Neil Adams on the pencils and Nick Cardy on the inks, which is kind of an odd combo, but a really cool cover nonetheless. So there we have DC Special number 3. Okay, here we have number 6, and this is Stories of the Wild Frontier, and I think this is mainly just Western stories, and it's kind of framed around a little sci-fi thing, because you see the rocket in the background here. And then you got all the Western guys coming up, but that's a really nice Neil Adams cover. This one's pretty beat up, but for the price, it was worth it to me. And this has got some great art in it. I mean, you've got, like I say, Adams on the cover. You got Gil Kane, Nick Cardy, and Joe Kubert on the interiors. So for the money, this is really worth having. Okay, we have DC Special number 9, Strange Sports Stories, Murphy Anderson cover. And I think pretty much all of these, the Strange Sports Stories, at least back in the 60s, were probably done by Carmine Infantino and Sid Green and all those guys. John Broome probably did a lot of the scripts. But it's a really cool cover. And there's number 9. Okay, number 12, featuring Viking Prince. You have the Silent Knight and Robin Hood. More Joe Kubert art, as you can tell. Beautiful cover. This was probably a mid-grade. There's a little rust around the staples and a few little dings, but otherwise a pretty nice book. I really love that sea monster. That's Kubert at his best. Number 12. And number 13, we have more strange sports stories. More of the same, Murphy Anderson cover. I think it's all Carmine Infantino on the art. Basically, this is another reading copy, but filled the gap. So, as our buddy Schmo Daddy would say, low grade is better than no grade. Okay, and this is the one I was really looking forward to getting, and this has been on my radar for years. But I really love Plastic Man, and all this is some classic Golden Age stories that Jack Cole did. I'm probably going to take this one out and let you look at some of the art. But for any fans of Plastic Man, the title page. And this is, other than a date stamp right there, this is really high grade. Really glad to find this one. But here you have this was actually a reprint of Police Comics number 1, which I think was the, this was actually the origin and first appearance of Plastic Man. So there you go. but just great, great story and art from the Golden Age. If you like Plastic Man. So, guys, that's all I have for this one. Appreciate you sticking around. And as always, onward and upward.